And so, unfortunately, growth isn't an event. Our personal professional growth is a process. It's something that's going to take time. And for a long period of that time, you may not see physical manifestation of good things happening. You have to trust the process. Hello everyone, Stacy here with you from Summit Mentorship. Welcome back. It is so good to see you again. So over the last few videos, we had talked about the importance of creating an environment that's conducive to your growth. So we wanted you to intentionally keep yourself in an environment with the people around you, the things that you are putting into your brain, the things you're watching and listening to and reading. And so we want to kind of take a different step here and now talk about the importance of consistency and discipline. Now, it doesn't just apply to being consistent in the environment, it's going to apply to consistency in all the things that we do. So in the book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, John Maxwell, the fifth law is actually the law of consistency. And basically it says that motivation will get you going, but it's discipline that'll keep you growing. And so what we have to do, now that we've talked some about getting started, and then we talked some about kind of keeping that environment where it needs to be, now how are we going to consistently apply the things in our lives that are going to make a big difference? Because success is really just a culmination of a lot of good, smart choices performed consistently over time. And then you get to see that compounding effect of what consistency will provide when you start to see the radically different results. And so consistency is very important. Now when we're talking about this, it can be routines. It can be just making sure that we are following the habits of success. And so you may say, what are the habits of success? Well, it can be different for each of us. And so what we kind of have to do is we have to go through a couple of stages with this and determine, what are my motivations? Because our motivations have to be in line, and my why has to be in line with the actions if I really want to become engaged in a plan that's going to stick. So one of the big reasons is we're unable to apply things consistently, and you may say things like, I'm just not a very self-disciplined person. One of the reasons we feel that way is because we're not truly aligning or determining, why is this really important to me? We're not taking that idea, we're not taking that thought and then going that extra step of saying, this is super important, and this is why it's super important. I really need to go after this with the right motivation, with the right intention, with the right consistency to keep it going. And so if that why isn't there, if that purpose isn't there, it's going to be really difficult. And so that's what will cause you, maybe you've tried to get on an exercise program and you go for 4, 5, or 6 days, and it's just not, you're just not quite seeing the payoff, right? Because, I've done this for 6 days, I should see a difference. And so you're kind of focusing on the wrong things. And so we have to make sure that purpose is in alignment with the actions so that we can stay motivated enough, because the motivation gets you going, but it's that discipline is the only way that's going to keep us growing. And so unfortunately, growth isn't an event. Our personal professional growth is a process. It's something that's going to take time. And for a long period of that time, you may not see physical manifestation of good things happening. You have to trust the process. You have to trust the process. And so we have to start creating the good habits of our day. We have to start creating that good morning routine where we get up and we spend time in thought and meditation and journaling and getting our thoughts ready. We have to start spending time in the evenings in reflection of what happened during that day and how will tomorrow be better, and what actions will I take that are going to be different, that are going to keep me on this different path of growth. If we're not intentionally doing these things, but intentionally doing these things consistently, the results won't follow. So this is an absolute process. Now you might be saying, I'm just not known for self-discipline, and this keeps coming back in your head. That's going to be a limiting belief that you're going to have to overcome, because I'll be the first to admit, I have struggled myself with this idea of staying disciplined on certain things. And I'll tell you something valuable that I learned. When you start to practice discipline in one area of your life, so one of the biggest changes for me was when I started running consistently and set the goal of half marathon and marathon and continue to grow with that. But what I learned is that the ability to consistently and with discipline get the run in no matter what was going on around, and get the workout in no matter what was going on, and just continuing day after day and creating that habit. What I learned is that discipline and consistency started to show up in other areas of life where I really wasn't expecting it. It had nothing to do with the running side of things, but improvement started to show up elsewhere. So what that tells me is that this is a skill that we can learn. This is something that we can hone, and we don't even have to really focus on what it is you're trying to achieve in order to get better disciplined at that thing. We can just start to hone the skill somewhere. So pick something, pick a discipline, pick the time of day that you're going to get up, start journaling, start doing something. But remember, the first step in anything that's going to be a consistent change in your life has to be why is this going to be important. Make sure the purpose is there, start to make those changes, and then consistently apply those changes and give it the time to actually see the growth. Remember, when you plant that seed, you know there's going to be days and days and days and possibly weeks before you actually see the fruit of the labor of planting the seed. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a good period of time there where there's nothing showing in the soil until one day you start to see that little crack, and then the little sprout of green pops up, and you know that something's working. Well, believe it or not, it was working all along. So that's what we have to understand, is that this is a process, and that the process does work. If you will consistently apply better actions, if you consistently apply better choices, the results have to follow. They have no choice in the matter. So over the next few videos, we're going to kind of give you some steps and some thoughts on consistency and discipline. It's going to be good stuff, so stay with us, and I look forward to seeing you on a new video very soon.